And now we're live, I think.
Oh, hi.
I believe. Hey.
Welcome to the FiveStack, my friends. My friends are here. Hi, come on in. We'll wait for you to filter into the room. We need to grow the room. We need to make the room bigger. This is I like to call it the Cubby Wubby womb room.
Room?
Cubby Wubby womb room.
Womb room.
Yeah, this is it. This is
As
the
opposed to the war
womb,
room.
the womb room.
Yeah.
The Cubby Wubby womb. This is where everybody comes to get a little break and a little peace of mind and to get their bearings. Every single day at 3 o'clock. Welcome to the FiveStack.
It's like welcome to my canyon.
Yeah, and I'm the river. The gift that keeps on giving, RFK
Priceless.
Jr. Hey, what would it be if we didn't have a sex-addicted heroin addict who chops the heads off of beached whales as the Health and Human Services Secretary?
What
Really,
would life be like if we didn't have that? I mean, what would life be like? Just
So
an ordinary
boring.
world. Are we actually live? We live, right?
Yeah, we're live. Yeah.
Hi, everybody. Just check.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Cubby Wubby Womb Room. We're gonna get our bearings today. Listen, today was an exceptional day if you love democracy. Today was an exceptional day if you hate Donald Trump. Today was an exceptional day because we've got his chief of staff literally lining up her exit plan. We have the Epstein files dropping on Friday. We got a major fucking press conference for Donald Trump tomorrow night at 9 o'clock. We have Stephen Miller on the run. We've got Pete Hegseth losing his mind. We have the British intelligence services, every arm and every branch, effectively saying we're in the in-between between peace and war. So brothers and sisters, get ready to defend your home country. We've got Canada readying a 300,000 person civil army at the moment in time. At this moment in time, we've got Finland and the EU all preparing for war. Ladies and gentlemen, we have been at war for a long time, and we're going to go to war today with you, but we're going to do it in a nice way. We're going to do it in the Cubby Wubby Womb Room of the FiveStack, ladies and gentlemen. That is
a heavy start. It's a
heavy
heavy start.
I know. I had to hit him with the big stick coming out of the gate.
War is coming. War is coming. I mean, it just seems like that's the headline almost every day, but no one wants to say it. We are willing to say it here because it is just such a big story. You can't avoid it. Also, a big story today, of course, a kind of shocking, but maybe the most honest piece of journalism done by anybody on the White House. Trump's chief of staff just gave 10 on-the-record interviews to Vanity Fair. 11. Yeah. 10 plus even. Susie Wiles.
To New York Times and Vanity Fair's incredible reporter Chris Whipple, who recorded everything. Anyway, continue. Sorry.
Yes. No problem. Susie Wiles, the woman who controls access to the president, told him a lot. She told him he, being Trump, is an alcoholic's personality. She said Vance was a conspiracy theorist for a decade, and his conversion was sort of political. She called OMB Director Vogt a right-wing absolute zealot. On Elon Musk, she said he's a complete solo actor, and he sleeps in a sleeping bag in the EOB when he was there. He's also an avowed ketamine user.
Yeah.
On Musk, reporting to Hitler, Stalin, Mao tweet, she said, I think that's when he's microdosing. We think she means ketamine. And she admitted that the Letitia James prosecution is retribution.
Pure bullshit. Yeah.
And then on Venezuela, she said, Trump wants to keep on blowing boats up until Maduro cries uncle. And there have been a couple of times where I've been outvoted, she says, about January 6th. And if there's a tie, he wins. And she was outvoted in terms of the January 6th pardons. Also, she calls Epstein criticized Bondi for the completely whiffing the Epstein investigation. It's quite a dramatic piece. This was, you've never heard a White House staffer talk about Donald Trump like that.
Not even John Kelly, who fucking hated the guy in his first term, right?
Yeah. It might be good. It might be good for them. In other words, it might be like, let us put out all the skeletons we have. Let us share this with everybody. Let everybody know what's going on.
Yeah,
and then we can start fresh with something a little less. You got to clear the slate a little bit. That's my best.
I love your optimism for the Trump regime. I really do. I love how you've sort of just said, hey, maybe they're just trying to start the new year on a positive footing.
Yeah, but it's not. It's not that. It's just another misdirection, of course. So why don't you tell us what's going on in this Wiles tell-all while we admire this incredibly interesting and polished photo shoot. They did 2 photos for Vanity Fair. Here's one.
Yeah. They look real tough, don't they?
Yeah.
Just a bunch of cacistocracy pricks that are fully underqualified to do the job of running the United States of America, like there's some guy. Listen, the Vanity Fair New York Times article that we're talking about today, Chris Whipple did it. 11 interviews. Let me just give you some backstory. 11 interviews over the last 11 months. What a month. And Chris Whipple is one of the most honest, well-regarded reporters in the world. If you know anything about Chris Whipple.
Yeah.
And I follow people. I don't follow brands. I follow Chris Whipple. I follow Tara Palmieri. I follow Lev. I follow Steve Schmidt. I follow people. I follow Waj. I follow people that give a shit. People that have a moral compass. People that have a center to them that makes sense to me. Chris Whipple's one of those guys. He sat with Susie Wiles 11 times. In those 11 interviews, he has backed up everything with audio that he has started to actually put out. Because Susie Wiles came out, it's like, this was a disingenuously misappropriated article. It wasn't. She said all the shit. Let me run this down for you. Susie Wiles is the chief of staff for Donald J. Trump. Susie Wiles is the daughter of one of my favorite broadcasters of all time from the NFL, Pat Summerall.
No, really?
Yeah, she's from NFL royalty family. Like she truly is. Pat Summerall was one of the great individuals in sports broadcasting. Loved to have a couple cocktails. He's just a good dude. Anyway, long story short, she's a very successful, very bright. She worked for Brewster and Associates with our friend Lev Parnas as a PR person. She's put several governors in seats. She's put several senators in seats, House congressional people in seats. Very, very smart lady. She knew what the fuck she was doing when she sat down for these interviews.
Yeah.
Let me go through the key points here. The Vanity Fair article, Chris Whipple, revealing stunning details that come with audio as well, if you ask. All you got to do is ask. Chris, like, yeah, here's the audio. Fucking brilliant. Here's what she said. That she has read the Epstein documents and acknowledged that Trump's name is all over them. Pictures, videos, accounts, flight logs, the whole bit.
Does she say that that's what she said? There's videos and pictures, or did she say
didn't have to? Didn't have to because we know what's coming on Friday, and I'll get to that in just a second as we kind of go on.
No worries.
Wiles then said she urged Trump not to pardon the January 6 rioters. He ignored her. She admitted Trump is looking for, quote, to your point, retribution. When there's an opportunity, he will go for it. She tried to convince Trump to stop the score settling against political enemies. After 90 days in office, that effort failed because Trump's desire for retribution never stops because he's fucked in the head. Wiles directly contradicted Trump's claim about Bill Clinton, stating there was no evidence Clinton ever visited Epstein's private island. She described Trump as having, quote, an alcoholic's personality. Wiles said her ability to work with him comes from a growing up with an alcoholic father. Pat Summerall, as I've just explained. Vice President J.D. Vance, she says Wiles has said that, quote, he's been a conspiracy theorist for over a decade. His conversion was completely political. A Trump critic to loyalist, was political, driven by his Senate ambitions and life ambitions rather than principle. She also then described Elon Musk. This is where it gets fun. The first part's fucking serious. That's the president, the vice president of the United States. She described Elon Musk as an avowed ketamine user, an odd duck whose actions were often not rational and left her aghast. She said he also slept in a sleeping bag in the office budget management office.
During the day.
He'd just do ketamine and work at night and then just sleep all day in the White House and the East Wing, which no longer exists. She then called director Russell T. Vought, the guy that came up with Project 2012, a, quote, right-wing absolute zealot. She then defended USAID, saying that anyone who's paid attention to the government knows they do very good work. She then said Attorney General Pam Bondi completely whiffed, alleging she was an idiot, and the handling of the Epstein files, explaining first she gave the binders full of nothingness, then she claimed the witness list or client list was on her desk. There was no client list, and there sure as hell was no list on her desk. She was lying through her teeth. Susie Wiles then said the administration needed to look harder at deportations to avoid mistakes. No shit. Referring to two mothers who were arrested and deported with their children after voluntarily attending routine immigration meetings, Wiles said, I can't understand how you make that mistake. How do you do that to somebody? But somebody did. She then tried to unsuccessfully to get Trump to delay major tariffs, setting a huge disagreement among his advisors. While some Trump's governing up mindset this way, he operates with a belief there is nothing he can't do, nothing, zero, nothing. This was Susie Wiles plotting her escape plan. This was not Susie Wiles getting caught flat-footed. She is too good for this shit. She is a smart, smart lady. She's absolutely in bed with Russia. She doesn't turn off relationship taps geopolitically to anywhere. And she understands when the legal heat is coming. She understands when the bottom of the boat is about to fall out and everybody's going to fucking drown. And what Susie Wiles did with Vanity Fair was effectively basically say, I'm out. This is what's going on here. This is what's happening. This country is being run by drug addicts and children with scores to settle. They're not interested in the governance of the United States of America. They're hurting Americans. Donald Trump is a fucking nutbag. Elon Musk is not only unhealthy, he's insane. Stephen Miller, Russell Vought, they are racist assholes, and I need to get the fuck out of here. Susie Wiles made sure that all of that came out. And then today, when the article came out in Vanity Fair and New York Times, she was like, what a hit piece. This is disingenuous. This is unbelievable. Do you know why she did that? She did that because she is playing a fucking game. She is playing 3 to 4D chess against Donald Trump. And Donald Trump's chief of staff just gave us an unfettered access into a world that we already knew existed. And if you've been paying attention, you're not surprised by this. What you are and should be surprised by is that his chief of staff, the second most powerful person in the United States of America, not named J.D. Vance, effectively sold him and his entire regime down the river today. And there's one reason she did it. She knows what's coming. And that should be encouraging to everyone that's watching today.
Well, that is an interesting interpretation and it says analysis of what's going on. I think, you're probably right that she sees the writing on the wall. Everyone sees the writing on the wall for Donald Trump right now. You know, that's what DC is all about right now. You look at the Republicans and how they're lining up against Donald Trump. You look at what's going on inside the White House. There's no one who wants to work there. There's no one who wants to be anywhere near the president, especially as he approaches this Friday's release of the Epstein files. But is she looking for a way out, or is she still going to be legally responsible for a lot of the things that have happened under this regime? She was the one calling the shots inside the White House, and these interviews, which are taken over a long period of time, do reveal a dysfunction which is quite remarkable. I mean, the fact that Elon Musk was given free reign over the entire U.S. budget, able to cut any jobs he wanted, and he could cut any projects he wanted, entire departments if he wanted to.
Yeah.
While the man was, addicted, or not addicted, using ketamine, microdosing, and sleeping in a sleeping bag inside the
Which,
office.
by the way,
every day.
let's not get shitty about microdosing. Mushrooms are awesome. I just wanted to point
Look,
that out.
I'm not judging anyone's things. I'm just
Yeah,
saying
you shouldn't.
this guy was given a.
We should judge his thing because he was in charge of the entire federal budget and fired tens, maybe hundreds of thousands of people while he was fucked up on ketamine, mushrooms, et cetera, to your point.
And
yes.
Isn't that just the most ridiculous, it's a disqualification of this president ever? He gave this guy, just because he's a billionaire, rights to do whatever he wanted to do with our U.S. Treasury and our U.S. Budgets, slashing and cutting, services that were feeding people around the world, saving lives around the world, essentially allowing for these people to die because he was on high on some ketamine or something. I mean, it tells you how ineffective this president has been, not to mention today's jobs reports and the other things that are coming down the pike, which make it look like this president...
I didn't see today's jobs report. What was it?
It's really bad. Unemployment up 4.6%. Now, they've adjusted some of the figures. It's hard to say exactly, but this is the highest.
Yeah, because they don't have people reporting on those numbers anymore.
Yeah, now they do, but they've maybe adjusted them. They think by about 60,000 jobs a month. This is the highest in 4 years, but what you really got to look at is the 8.3% in black unemployment. It's particularly black women. 300,000 jobs have been lost amongst black women, up 8.3% from 6.7%. That is a significant issue for this president. And there's nothing good coming down the line. I mean, it's not like we're expecting a jobs bonanza in the next few months. It's much of the same, if not worse. It looks like Canada, little old Canada, had more jobs created since April than the United States did. And the United States has a much larger
10 times the
economy.
population.
Yeah. So, just by comparison there, it doesn't look very good. On the other hand, this president is completely inept. If you look at this video from last night.
Yeah, he
what
got
is
lost
going
in the
on
Oval
here?
Office.
What is going on here, Dean? The military, who know how to kiss ass when the president's around, completely ignoring Donald Trump.
Yeah, well, they hate him.
They
right?
hate him.
Like, so I had a conversation with a friend of mine about this video, and this video is interesting. You got U.S. Army, Navy people. They're sitting around, congratulating each other, having a conversation. I want you to pay special attention to how lost the president of the United States, Donald J. Trump, is. And I want you to pay attention to the whispering. None of them want him to know what they're saying for very fucking good reason. Is that they're in that Oval Office because of the United States of America, not because of Donald Trump. He's stealing their valor to do some kind of PR campaign. Doesn't matter what he's doing. And then he realizes halfway through this thing that he should probably sit down, but he has no idea where he is.
Yeah.
He has no fucking clue what's going on.
Great job. Great job.
Great job. They're just fucking shaking hands.
The military are ignoring him. I mean, this is not a coincidence. They don't do
completely ignoring him.
They are not in favor of what's about to happen. Speaking of which, tomorrow night, you just pointed out, 9 p.m. is now the time when it looks like a Trump presidential announcement is coming down. Yeah. And that announcement could be war in Venezuela. Is that what your sources are telling you?
Yeah. My sources are telling me the boots are already on the ground. I had a couple conversations today that Donald Trump plans on announcing that he is going to go after Venezuela. That is tomorrow night, or he might switch it up. And this is really why I fucking think Donald Trump needs to be removed from office. This and the fact he got lost behind his own desk in that video.
Where am I? Where am I? No,
Can you play it again? Can you just play it one time? Just bring it up one more time.
Yeah, no problem.
We're in 25th Amendment territory, friends. Look at him. Look at how fucking uncomfortable. He doesn't know what to do with himself. All he's got to do is sit down, by the way. That's it. Well, and he's like not sure where he's supposed to go, not sure who's doing what. This is like, my grandmother has dementia. Beautiful lady, Mary Keith, 92 years old. Love her to death. She's the sweetest lady. This is her anywhere we go. Everywhere we go.
It's amazing to me that, firstly, no one is there around him. No Susie Wiles. Nobody is around him saying, hey, Donald, this is where you got to go. Yep. There's one military guy that comes up and shakes his hand. One. Yeah. You think that, these guys are getting military honors. They're being... I don't even know what the point of this ceremony was, but they're obviously...
Doesn't matter because it was just to steal their valor. That's why.
And he is being ignored by the military, who know, by the way, that he's about to send them on a war that is completely egregious and is not about the thing that he says it's about. I'm glad that Susie Wiles in this interview actually comes clean on that part. I mean, it is interesting that she admits that he wants to keep blowing up boats until Maduro cries uncle. Yeah. Meaning, this is about regime change. It's not about the narcotics, not about the drug trade, not about fentanyl, whatever it is he's claiming it is. This is about getting the oil from Venezuela and getting Maduro out of power so they can control the oil.
Yeah. That's all it's about. I mean, you're going to see a big distraction. So this is going to be a nuclear week for Donald Trump. Not only did the Susie Wiles interview land very poorly, and on cue, the entire White House proxy staff started putting out things about how great Susie Wiles is, how terrible Vanity Fair is, how terrible the New York Times are. Everybody's fake news. There is audio to back it all up. Yeah. Audio. I've heard it. We've all heard it. Chris Whipple puts it out. And she's effectively doing Marjorie Taylor Greene is doing, what Nancy Mace might do, what Thomas Massey's trying to do, what dozens really of other GOP House and Senate members are contemplating how to do, which is how do you detangle yourself from the criminality, from The Hague, from the International Criminal Courts, from crimes against humanity, against the American people. They blew up 3 more boats yesterday in the Pacific Ocean. 3. They just went after 3 boats. Just said, fuck. How do you detangle yourself from 99 deaths in the Caribbean Ocean where you have no idea who these people are? You just are trying to fucking murder as many people to send a message to a guy in Venezuela to get the fuck out of the Venezuelan presidential palace. And she admitted that in this interview. And to your point, everything, and I mean fucking everything we have posited about the intentions of all of these bullshit operations, from the ICE Gestapo to SNAP benefits to Obamacare to Venezuela to Russia to cosplaying JD Vance, which, by the way, she actually took a strip off of him. Said he, by the way, JD Vance, in case anybody didn't know, came out in university as gay, came out after university as wanted to be a drag queen, and I truly believe there's secretly a cabal of conservative men like JD Vance who are all like secret gay drag queen loving LGBTQ members who think that if they just deliver the United States to Jesus Christ, their personal Lord and Savior, they'll be absolved of all the gay stuff.
Oh, I think that's far more pragmatic than that. They're just enjoying the money and the power and the politics and the access. I mean, do you think that it's got to be anything to do with Jesus Christ?
You think like Marco Rubio
bit generous to this crowd. I mean, this crowd is not interested in Jesus Christ at all.
Oh no, they are. They're interested in like what saying you're part of the evangelical Christian club gets you.
Yeah.
Like Marco Rubio. Marco Rubio is as gay as a blade. Like, so is JD Vance. So is Mike Johnson. Yeah. And listen, I'm tired of fucking dancing around it. Like, I'm a different guy on Twitter than I am on Substack, and I'm tired of it. I'm going to bring them both together.
Yeah.
The GOP is full of a bunch of closeted homosexuals. And that are like so tortured and desperate that they trade money and power to sell out their fucking community. MAGA Mike Johnson, Marco Rubio, JD Vance, Lindsey Graham. I wouldn't doubt Donald Trump's had a trip on the wild side too. I really wouldn't.
Jeffrey Epstein in the same room.
I wouldn't doubt that
they've a gay man, but
they've had a couple of sword fights.
Yeah.
With the mushroom and the lemon. I wouldn't doubt it. I really wouldn't doubt it. And so Susie Wiles lets us in on this stuff, and I'm like, oh, they're all gay.
I'm not all gay. I mean, the gay people should not be responsible for everything that's happening in the White
House.
No,
but I'm saying they're all like evil, angry gay people that can't be openly gay.
There have been
dude, Mike Johnson's wife's the best. Like Mike Johnson's wife's sole job in life is to convert men from homosexuality to being cisgendered.
Yeah, and then she married one. There have always been gay men in the conservative circles. They're very effective, at putting facades up. Gay guys know how to pretend not to be gay to the world. But where it really gets to me is when they start passing legislation which really hurts gay people. Mm-hmm. Then it's unacceptable. And these guys have done a fantastic job at that. They keep marginalizing gay people, oppressing the trans community, doing everything they can to ostracize people, costing lives, costing futures for everybody. I mean, it's a long history of this that they've been doing.
What do they say? The best defense is a great offense. That's my dad used to say that all the time when we talk about work and life and business. And he's like, "Bud, the best defense is a great offense." That is never more true than in the GOP. MAGA is chock-a-block with men who would love nothing more than another man, which is fucking awesome. I think it's great. I don't give a fuck what you do. But when you go out there and you're like, we got to keep trans people out of sports. We have to end DEI. We got to end exemptions for anybody, and we got to end Gay Pride Month, and we got to stop giving gay people their due and stop treating them like they're equal to cisgendered people. When MAGA is literally like, no, listen, Scott Bessent.
Are you trying to name all the gay officials in the cabinet?
Yeah. I am because they're rotten, and they work with a guy who's literally trying to horse collar the trans LGBTQ community.
Yeah.
And they're liars, and they're hypocrites, and they're evil, and they're shitty, and they're trading money for who they fucking are, and power and influence for who they really are. Like they're in jail, they're in mental jail. And Susie Wiles selling all these people out, and that's when I got to the JD Vance thing. I know I went on a bit of a tangent about everybody else, including Scott Besson, who owned a pink Barbie house in Louisiana, which is another whole story.
Pink. It's a nice color for a house. I mean, there's nothing wrong with painting your house pink.
No, no, there's nothing wrong with it. But I mean, Scott, as you know, like you're a member of the LGBTQ community, you know Scott Besson's gay. And then you watch him stump for a guy. Stump every day for a dude who literally terrorizes the LGBTQ/trans community. That needs to be called out.
Yeah, look, there's no morality in this administration, and they're in it for the money, they're in it for the crime, they're in it for the power. To suggest that any of them have any morals is ridiculous. They don't. And that's gay, straight, or anything. They're just not.
Yeah.
They just have no ethics. They just do whatever they.
Yeah, but this is just the topping on the cake, if you will. This is just the whipped cream. This is the amuse bouche of how terrible these fucking people are. And when she talked about JD Vance literally making a massive heel turn for political reasons, she left that part out. But that's all I thought.
Yeah.
That's all I thought. I'm like, oh my God, she's got these guys nailed. Anyway, Susie Wiles.
He was defending her today, JD Vance, which is kind of surprising to me that he
choice.
He had no choice, but because he knows he's cooked. Meanwhile, his relationship with Erica Kirk is quite interesting, and we'll see what happens with that. But back to Venezuela tomorrow night, 9 p.m. We're expecting this man to tell us he's going to war with this country, and we're also expecting to see tomorrow, according to Pete Hegseth, the unedited videos of the September the 2nd boat strike. Only you and I won't see it. The good people of the House Intelligence and Armed, which is, I'm not sure which.
Senate.
It's a Senate. The Senate committee will see it.
Yeah, Senate and
they
House.
Have weird acronyms, so I don't know for sure. But Hegseth,
HSAC, SSAC, that's what they call it.
Okay, thank you. Which is which?
You're welcome.
It all sounds very gay to me as well.
HSAC is the House. Yeah, again.
Anyhow, this is what he said.
I wonder if Mega Mike shows up. He's like, is this where the meeting is?
Hey, listen, this is Hegseth today promising that he had a good meeting and the tapes are going to be seen by the senators tomorrow.
We're going to tomorrow allow the HASC and SASC to see the unedited video of the September 2nd, alongside with Admiral Bradley, who has done a fantastic job, has made all the right calls, and we're glad he'll be there to do it. But in keeping with long-standing Department of War policy, Department of Defense policy, of course, we're not going to release a top secret, full unedited video of that to the general public. HASC and SASC and appropriate committees will see it, but not the general public.
That's it. That's what he said. So
the House Arms and Security Committee and Senate Arms Security. Yeah. It's HASC and SASC. Yeah. And then he ran away when he was like, "Hey guys, you know that video that Trump said we put out no problem? And the one I said we put out no problem? It's a problem." So I'm not going to put it out.
Every single day they have videos of poor people getting blown out of their boats in the Caribbean as they're throwing this incredible firepower at them. And they have no problem putting that video out every day. But this particular video, which is a little bit controversial to say the least, this potentially contains war crimes, and the Secretary of Defense himself ordering those war crimes, we're going to keep that secret. That one's not for the public. That's not for public.
But guys, don't worry. Two committees that we currently own, we're in charge of both oversight committees. We'll show them the video. They'll tell you what was in it. We just can't send it out because it's top secret. It's not top secret information. And keep in mind, that comes from a dude that literally shared top secret war plans in signal chats with his wife, his brother, a bunch of friends, and a reporter from AP by mistake. So if you think that he's really skittish about sharing top secret information, you're crazy. The reason why he's not sharing it, and this is what he's effectively not telling you, and when he tells you that he's under no circumstance we're putting out top secret information to the public, the reason why he's telling you is that because what's in that video makes him look guilty as fuck of murdering Caribbeans for no good fucking reason. That's why.
Now, I'm wondering tomorrow if he announces this war effort, if the military, which we saw earlier, completely ignoring the commander-in-chief in the White House Oval Office, they're not going to want to go to war with Venezuela tomorrow. I mean, they're obviously not interested in that. They're not, this is not something that the military looks like it's happy to support. And yet Hegseth and Trump are going to try and announce it. I mean, this is the 2-week countdown. This is about where we thought it was going to come. We thought it was going to come just as the Epstein files are released, and it's all going to happen. Now, the question is, we're going to war with a military that doesn't support our secretary and doesn't support our commander in chief.
Not a recipe for success, is it?
No, doesn't make me feel very good.
No, I mean, it's why Ukraine is winning in their genocide and the illegal invasion of their country against Russia, is because they're fighting for something. Venezuela is going to fight for something. Yeah. These men and women in uniform that are currently being staged, and I use that term very heavily, staged in the Southern Theater around the Caribbean from Puerto Rico. The reason why they will lose, reason why they will die, if indeed Trump does this, is because they're not fighting for fucking anything. They're fighting for a rapist, felon, pedophile. They're fighting for a drunk Fox News weekend anchor.
Yeah.
They're fighting for a self-avowed Nazi in Stephen Miller. Oh my God, the Freudian slip. They're fighting for terrible people that want terrible things for the United States of America. It's not what they signed up for. And if anybody in the United States has ever needed someone to follow in a moment like this, I want you to follow Terrence Goggin, West Point history professor. He is of the firm opinion, and he's like a professor emeritus from West Point. You've had him on your show several times. We've had him on our show once, and I love the man. I love the man because he's so steeped in tradition, and he understands when the U.S. military-industrial complex said no to presidents in the past, and he said it's gonna happen. And so Trump is sort of at the precipice now where he's going to have to start a war, wants to start a war, wants to distract everybody from the Epstein files, which are coming on Friday, wants to announce it tomorrow night at 9 o'clock. He's got his chief of staff literally coming out and blowing up everybody's intention, which we already fucking knew. It's just so nice that she said it. We have polling numbers that are approaching 31, 32% for approval rating, and that is a disaster for him. We have an economy that's on the brink of collapse. We've got mass shootings all over the place. Kash Patel and his girlfriend did a podcast interview with Katie Miller instead of looking for the FBI looking for the killer at Brown University. We got Donald Trump literally running around saying the craziest shit he could possibly say. You've got Donald Trump literally mocking the death of one of the most important figures in American film history, mocking, laughing, doubling down.
Yeah,
we'll get to that in a minute. Yeah. He is on tilt. If anybody knows anything about tilt with video games, pinball machines, if you shake it because you get really mad, the thing just fucking completely flatlines.
Yeah.
He's on tilt.
This is a person who's no longer got the support of his White House staff. This is a White House in complete disarray. He's lost his confidence of the military. He's lost the confidence of his political party. He's lost the confidence of his voters. The opinion polls are horrific. No matter which way you look at it, he is in free fall. And as you point out, he has the same difficult mental issues that we've all suspected him to have. And he is, an unstable man in decline, currently in charge of the free world, or the so-called free world, doing Vladimir Putin's bidding, and lost support of everybody who used to support him in 1 year, in under a year.
11 months.
It's stunning.
11 months. You cannot. It doesn't. I said this today in a piece at deanblundell.substack.com. It doesn't matter what he tries to project as an A++++ economy. It doesn't matter what he tries to project as the hottest country in the world. It doesn't matter. When Americans go to the grocery store, they know it's a lie. When Americans turn on their television, they know it's a lie. When Americans go out for dinner, they know it's a lie. When Americans
in their jobs
who voted for It's
There's
a
no
lie.
jobs. There are no jobs, and especially Black Americans who are 300,000 women have lost their job. Black American women have lost their job. You know how devastation that is in those communities. And it's all done on racist lines. Like he's done this all on purpose. He's designed the job cuts in the government and everywhere else in order to get rid of Black people. He's a completely racist, inhumane person who's going after people based on their race. This in the greatest country in the world. This is in the free and fair, equal United States. I mean, it is stunning. And everyone can see him now. Everyone can see exactly who he is. And it's an ugly, ugly picture. The question is, what happens next? And that is a really good question. But before we get there, we should talk about Reiner. You mentioned this a few minutes ago. Yesterday's White House press conference, the president also doubled down on what he said earlier on Truth Social about Rob and Michelle Reiner's murder. Earlier on, he said that, he called the Reiner afflicted by the deranged Trump syndrome, or whatever it's called.
Trump derangement syndrome,
whatever,
TDS, yeah.
Really, he's the only one who's suffering from it. But tell us what happened afterwards, because in the press conference later on, he doubled down on the comment, even being told, after everyone told him to really, take it back and take it down. He never did. He just doubled down on the whole issue.
Yeah, White House yesterday. So yesterday's crazy press conference where he got lost behind his own desk.
Yeah.
At the end of the press conference, someone asked him, like, "Hey, a lot of your people, a lot of MAGA, a lot of GOP people are like not really happy with what you said about Rob Reiner, where you said effectively, listen, I'll paraphrase, his death is justified because he didn't like me and he deserved to die." That's what he said in the tweet. Trump derangement syndrome probably drove people crazy enough to the point where they killed him, and that's okay. May they rest in peace. Fucking crazy. I thought he would have ignored the question yesterday, but not only did he ignore it, he made it so much fucking worse. I don't know if you have the clip.
Yeah, I have the clip.
Do we have it?
Yeah.
Let's play it.
A number of Republicans have denounced your statement on Truth Social after the murder of Rob Reiner. Do you stand by that post?
Well, I wasn't a fan of his at all. He was a deranged person as far as Trump is concerned. He said he knew it was false. In fact, it's the exact opposite, that I was a friend of Russia, controlled by Russia. It was the Russia hoax. He was one of the people behind it. I think he hurt himself in career-wise. He became like a deranged person, Trump derangement syndrome. So I was not a fan of Rob Reiner at all in any way, shape, or form. I thought he was very bad for our country. Yeah.
Wow.
So he deserved to get murdered by his son. That's the implication there. Is that because Rob Reiner had an issue with Donald Trump, because Rob Reiner spoke truth to power about Donald Trump having a relationship with Russia, about being Russia's boot-licking president, which he said several times, because he disagreed with Donald Trump, his murder by his own son was justified. And on top of his murder being justified by his own drug-addicted son, he didn't like him. He perpetrated a story about Donald Trump he didn't like. So he's glad Rob Reiner and his wife were murdered by his son.
So basically, anyone who reported the truth during that period of time, including me, I reported the truth, on the Trump-Russia thing. It's one of the first people to bring it out into the public light. And Rob Reiner was amongst those people who highlighted exactly how connected Donald Trump was to Vladimir Putin, which anyone can see now is obviously true, because it's hard to see any daylight between Donald Trump and Vladimir Putin when it comes to policy, especially with Ukraine, but almost everything else. This White House is controlled by the Kremlin. It's pretty obvious. He calls this a hoax still. He's still in this mindset that it's a hoax. And yet Rob Reiner was one of the people who stood up during a very difficult time, during the first administration, put up a lot of his own money to set up his own website to provide people with the truth about Trump-Russia. And because he did that, he's now an avowed enemy of the president, and he's deserving of this brutal death.
Yeah, and in his mind, that works. That's how fucked he is. Like,
That is the least presidential thing I've ever seen any president do. I mean, you meant
There is
to,
no humanity in it.
Yeah, I mean, the whole thing is to be the consoler in chief. You meant to
Yeah.
come out there and say, it's a terrible moment, but let's learn from it. Let's get something from us. Let's come together. Let's unite. Instead, he's out there saying this guy should have died. What are you signaling to your followers? Is it okay to just go and kill anybody
Bingo.
who says anything bad about you? Is it okay? And is it okay in his mind to kill anybody who disagrees with him?
Yeah.
Because I think it is. I think in his mind, in the way his mind works, he believes it's justifiable to kill anybody who disagrees with Donald Trump.
And he's such a pussy.
Yeah.
He calls it a national emergency every time someone speaks poorly of him. Says it's bad for the country if you speak poorly of him. He's that much of a pussy.
Yeah.
So it's completely understandable to me that he said what he said about Rob Reiner, where he said he had Trump derangement syndrome, probably drove people crazy talking about how much he hated me. He invented the Trump Russia shit. No, he didn't. He didn't do any of that. You know what he did? He spoke truth to fucking power. And because he was a very, very serious person that held very serious favor with certain groups that Donald Trump is very antithetical to, Donald Trump is celebrating, gloating, not celebrating, gloating, that Rob Reiner and his beautiful wife were murdered by his son who has a drug problem. That's the president of the fucking United States of America. Listen, I don't give a shit what you believe. I don't care if you are a Democrat. I don't care if you're a Republican. I don't care if you're a libertarian. I don't give a fuck if you vote for the party of Star Wars. Here's what I care about. Are you a decent human being? Do you have a moral center? Do you feel sorry for people? And if you understand Rob Reiner's story, and everything started in kind of, you know, for me, it's starting to come into a very personal perspective where you try to hide the addiction of your son. I had one of those, went to rehab twice. You try to pretend things are normal. You try to protect the sanctity of your family. You try so hard to keep your son alive and healthy, and that's what Rob Reiner did. That's what Michelle Singer Reiner did for 30 fucking years with their son, Nick. And they lost that battle because Nick had an episode and he killed his parents. Donald Trump is gloating over that, effectively thanking Nick for killing one of his critics, saying he fucking deserved it.
And this is the president who ran, by the way, on helping drug-afflicted families. This was one of the things that he ran on in both election campaigns.
Yeah.
And his solution is to pretend to go to war with Venezuela for drugs when it's really about oil. Because he's nothing for families that are dealing with drug addiction. In fact, he's stripped all of that, along with Elon Musk, out of the health bills. You can't really get that treatment anymore. You basically are left alone if you're in a situation like the Reiners were with their son.
You can't get counseling treatment. You can't access insurance. You can't do any of those things. He is literally setting up America to have a bunch of these things, and he will mock everybody for it just because he doesn't. And you go back to what Susie Wiles said about him. He has the personality of an alcoholic.
Yeah, can we talk about that? Because he's, there have been people who I've had on my show who know him pretty well, who say that he's addicted to snorting Adderall, that he's had a stimulant abuse issue all his life. And now he's chief of staff. He's saying that he has an alcoholic's brain or personality. Maybe he is.
Yeah, no, he is. He is super addicted to amphetamines. Donald Trump has been snorting Adderall and shitting his pants because of it for the last 30 years. He's got a Keith Schiller is his diaper guy's name. Keith Schiller, that's his name. Keith Schiller is the guy that wipes Donald Trump down, cleans him up, changes his diaper, and dresses him every time he shits himself. There's a video of some people that were being given awards in the White House. There's a woman in a blue dress, I can't remember her name, standing behind him doing one of these the other day. My God. My God, this is terrible smell. I can't. And I thought, where's Keith Schiller? When you need
I don't
him?
think he's allowed in the White House anymore.
$500,000. No, he is. He's still his diaper guy. Yeah.
No one else wants that job. But
He is, and it goes even further than that. It's not even that he's got an amphetamine issue, that he's a drug addict, and Donald Trump is a drug addict. Whatever he says. So is his son Don Jr., who got engaged, at the White House yesterday to this poor woman whose father actually vouched for Jeffrey Epstein a couple of years ago as a great guy. Of course, he did. Bettina Anderson is her name,
it's Russian.
and Donald Trump and his son were both so cooked on whatever the fuck they did before they got to that lectern that it was a nightmare to watch.
Mhm.
I go and Google the video, Trump Jr. engaged, and I want you to watch the manicness of both of them.
Mhm.
They're both so fucking strung out on drugs. The president of the United States is a drug addict, a pedophile, a felon. The president of the United States is a racist, a fascist. He is Hitler incarnate.
Mm.
And I don't say that lightly, and I don't bring it up very often. But that's exactly what Hitler was as well.
I mean, Hitler didn't even have that on his record. I mean, Hitler was just a genocidal murderer. But
No, he loved meth.
Yeah, did he? Okay.
Yeah.
But
1936 Olympics in Munich. That video of him rocking back and forth.
yeah,
doing one of these. That's full on amphetamines, dude.
Okay. So did Kennedy, by the way.
Oh yeah. Kennedy. They all love their drugs, dude.
Yeah.
They all love their drugs. Yeah.
I
don't think Joe Biden. I think Joe Biden might have been on like a statin.
Joe Biden must be
Obama
sitting watching TV every day going, what did they put me through? This guy is getting away with like absolutely everything. And Joe Biden was run out of office for, sleeping in a couple of meetings. I mean.
Oh, no. Joe Biden was run out of office because Donald Trump wanted everybody to think he was asleep in meetings.
Yeah, sure.
I never saw Joe Biden asleep in a meeting. Like I've seen Donald Trump.
Yeah, it's true.
2 weeks ago, he fell asleep, nodded off. Political counted 23 times during the week. 23 times in 5 to 7 different meetings was doing one of these.
I mean, it just tells you everything right there. The number 2 story on the countdown. This is a story from deanblundell.substack.com, but it's getting a lot of attention today. Trump's 2022 lawsuit against the Pulitzer Prize Board just backfired spectacularly. Now, I remember this particular lawsuit. It's quite something. It turns out the Pulitzer community is going to get its revenge on him because they have now demanded in discovery that he comply with all tax returns from 2015 to the present, all sources of income, all financial holdings and liabilities, his health records, his psychological records, his entire prescription medication history, speaking of Adderall. This is going to be a bombshell and a bonanza for anyone who's ever wanted to know the truth about Donald Trump. It's all going to come out in discovery, and it's a lawsuit that he launched.
Be careful what you ask for because you just might get it. My dad, Jimmy Blundell, used to tell me that all the time when I was a kid. Be careful what you ask for, son. You just might get it. He just might get it. This is a wild story. Little known lawsuit. Nobody is really kind of paying attention to. It happened in 2022. Is that? Yeah, I think that's when it happened. Right. Donald Trump so egregiously pissed off that the Pulitzer Prize went to a writer from the New York Times. Several writers, actually, for covering his collusion with Russia. So you knew he was going to sue him. Covering his
tax records, really. It was his buddy's
tax records. Yeah, all the work, tax evasion, all the work that he, exactly. And so he sued them. And unlike CBS, which is run by fucking morons, which is owned by Trump acolytes and fucking morons, the Pulitzer Board is run by the smartest fucking journalists in the world.
Yeah.
The world. And they're like, okay, well, let's see what kind of damage we caused you. And let's have a look at your medical records. Let's have a look at your psychiatric records. Let's have a look at your entire prescription drug history. Let's have a look at your financial and tax incentives and records just to see what kind of damage we caused you and just to see if we're wrong.
Yeah.
That part of a trial is called discovery. I'm going through it right now with a group associated with Pierre Poilievre here in Canada, Maple MAGA, Canada Proud. On Monday, I've got a discovery hearing where I'm really excited to hear those things.
Yeah,
I've caused you enormous damage. Like, let's talk about that. Let's show us your financial records.
Oh,
let's get your You said you were hurt by psychologically by me by a tweet. Let's get your psychological and medical records and see how bad the damage is. Because the burden of proof when you launch a lawsuit, and this is what a lot of people in the United States and Canada too, but in the United States right now with this, specifically with Trump, don't understand. If you can get to the discovery process, and Trump weaponizes the law all the time. Lawsuit, lawsuit, lawsuit. He sued fucking BBC today for $10 billion for literally just fucking reporting what he said. And he's like, they put words in my mouth. I can't believe they put words in my mouth. I mean, he sued the New York Times. He sued the Washington Post for putting out the birthday book thing. And then he rescinded that lawsuit. And the judge is like, get rid of that fucking lawsuit. He is lawfare. That's exactly what Donald Trump is.
Yeah.
And when you get to a point where you sue enough people, you sue the wrong person. They sued the wrong people and suing the Pulitzer Board, specifically the smartest 20 that live in Florida.
Mhm.
And they have asked now for like effectively a toilet brush DNA cleaning of Donald Trump to justify exactly what it is that Donald Trump has lost that they have caused him by reporting factually on him. Now, this lawsuit, and Donald Trump will fold. I just want to point that out because that's what he does. He's Taco Trump, takes it to the wall until he knows he's beat, and then he just kind of forgets about it and pretends it doesn't happen and drops his lawsuit and just puts people through purgatory. That is the entire purpose of Donald Trump and lawfare ever since he met Roy Cohn. You know that. I know that. Everybody knows that. If you've seen The Apprentice, it's fucking eye-opening. He is not going to get around this because the Pulitzer Board takes their work as seriously as the Michelin star chefs that give out Michelin stars for restaurants.
Mhm.
They're not fucking around.
No, these guys know.
And
what
they're
they're
not going to
doing.
go, oh, well, you dropped the lawsuit. Pulitzer Board anonymous spokesperson said today, we're going to follow this up until we get the result we want. Because there's more at stake here than a lawsuit for Donald Trump. It's about the truth. It's about passion. It's about focus. But more importantly, it's about giving Americans a realistic perspective of what's going on around them. And that's what the Pulitzer Board does.
It's so about time that these pushbacks happen because these lawsuits have become egregious and they're just ridiculous. I mean, to think that CBS gave in as easily as they did, ABC gave in as easily as they did, just so they can get their merger applications or whatever it is through. History is going to look very unkindly on those people. They're not going to look unkindly at the Pulitzer Committee who've done the right thing in fighting back against this, a really egregious lawsuit. The number one story on the countdown today, Jeffrey Epstein. The files come out this Friday, or so we hope they'll come out this Friday if everything goes according to plan.
Can I ask you a question?
Yes.
Do you think we'll get them on Friday?
I think we're going to get things on Friday. I think they have to. That's the law. They have to drop these things. Will they be completely sanitized? Likely they'll be completely sanitized. I don't think we're going to see things that embarrass the president of the United States because I don't think you do that. I just don't think there's no precedent for anything like that a department within the executive publishes things that are completely harmful to not only the president, but the presidency of the United States. And I think, there's a dual thing here that they're going to have to try and protect. One is the presidency, the office of the presidency, and the other one is the president. But we know he's in there. Susie Wiles basically admitted today he's in there. She says he's not doing anything wrong in there, but, how much did he know when all of this was happening? If we know that Epstein was his best friend for all these years, and we know that this happened for many years, why didn't he do anything about it? Why was he still part of that world? Why did he never call the FBI? Why did he never do anything to try and stop everything that his best friend was doing? And the answer gets really deep around that, and it's around financial entanglements and taxes and a whole bunch of other things. But it's interesting as well that the New York Times today, David Enrich and his team put out a brand new story which detailed a lot of Epstein's financial sources, although it sidesteps a whole bunch of them. In many ways, I'm thrilled they put it out because it backs up everything I'd been reporting about people like Steve Hoffenberg and Douglas Leese. Many people have said these things never existed, that discredited Hoffenberg, who passed away, and they discredited Leese as not even existing. Well, of course, now the New York Times has found all the details about them really existing and being very real people connected to Jeffrey Epstein. That's very important in terms of us understanding the timeline. But, missing from that story is the fact that Douglas Leese is an arms dealer and was a notorious arms dealer connected to the Saudis and the British royal family. That's not in that story. Also missing from that story, it's all about Wexner, but there's no indication that Wexner had ties to the mob, no indications that Wexner had ties to Israel. All of that is missing. But nevertheless, it's an interesting, detailed look at how Epstein managed to get his money all the way from Bear Stearns onwards. It bears out a lot of what I'd been reporting on The Greatest Heist, and with a lot of new detail. And it certainly confirms some of the main characters that many people had said about my reporting, it was discredited because of that. The New York Times basically backs up what I've been reporting for years now.
How did it feel?
I'm so used to this. It's sort of like, I'm pretty sure about what I've got here, and I wouldn't be out there saying it if I didn't say it. But it's a little bit of vindication. I like David. I
told you so.
Yeah.
I told you so. Told you so. For
I
10
wish
years.
I wish more people could just hear what I've got to say. I think there's a lot hidden inside the Epstein world that is not seeing the daylight, and there are crimes that have affected every single America, that they are in the middle of committing another one of these crimes, where they're going to tank the American economy. They're going to steal all the money out of the American economy. They're going to try run a scam on the American economy with the cryptocurrency. And at the end of the day, the average American who should not be in this plight has been victimized by a group of mobsters and organized criminals that include the president of the United States and also included Jeffrey Epstein. And it's still going on right at this very minute, and it's all done at the behest of Russia and possibly China. And that's just, that is happening right now. And the fact that the New York Times finds its way to squiggle out of these things all the time, and how can you not talk about Israel and Jeffrey Epstein? I found this great clip from Thomas Massey. It was on Joe Rogan. I want to play it for you because it sets the tone for the thing that we're not going to maybe see. Let me see if I can find it here. I hope I can. Here we go. Let's take a look at this. I hope it plays. Let me see. It won't play.
There's two reasons he's flipped. One, his rich and powerful friends who've donated to him or go to his dinner parties. Like, he doesn't want to embarrass them. And they may, in fact, not even be guilty of a crime. They may just be very embarrassed that they were having extramarital sex, with these women, for instance. So that's one thing. But I think there's also the intelligence aspect of this that goes even deeper. Maybe Trump is on one plane and he's thinking, I can't embarrass my friends. But there may be people in the administration who are career people, mm-hmm. who are thinking on another plane. They're like, well, let's convince Trump he's going to embarrass his friends, when in reality, what we're trying to do is protect our sources and methods, which may involve sex trafficking.
Yeah.
And we don't want to embarrass our partner, Israel, in this time when the popularity for their war or support for their war is at an all-time low. And now we're going to find out that their defense minister, Ehud Barak, was documented with Jeffrey Epstein 36 times, probably even while he was defense minister, previously been prime minister. I don't know that he knew Epstein during that period. I'm not sure how much of those dates overlap, but there are reasons that they want to protect them. There's reasons he's flipped. And I don't think his children or J.D. Vance or even Pam Bondi or Kash Patel were read into all that when they originally said all of this stuff should be released. I mean,
he goes on to say, if it's a hoax, why did they have all those binders? I mean, it's obviously.
You know what? I'll tell you what. Thomas Massey the other day talked. He called for the abolishment of NATO. Not his finest moment.
Really, he did?
Yeah. He said we got to get out of NATO. I'm like, it's fucking in New York. I mean, you're just like
the UN or NATO?
NATO.
Okay.
Oh, sorry, UN. Yeah, no. He wanted to get rid of NATO, which is in Brussels. My bad.
Yeah.
So, long story short, is that Thomas Massey is doing the very unpopular thing of that a lot of people don't like to do today, which is tell the truth. And what I love about working with you, as someone who was born in Israel, someone who has family in Israel, someone who is Jewish, is that you have that same ability, where you have the gumption to be able to tell the truth about Jeffrey Epstein's ties to Mossad, Jeffrey Epstein's ties to the Israeli government, Jeffrey Epstein's ties to the CIA, Jeffrey Epstein's ties to the FSB, which is why we're here still wandering around in hinterland, wondering what the fuck is going on with these Epstein files.
Mhm.
And what sits behind that door when it comes to Israel is being labeled an anti-Semite.
Mhm.
And you cannot have that conversation. Well, we can, because we do that here. You can't have that conversation in a real world space, because what they've done, along with Trump, the Christian lobby, the Jewish lobby, is lump the Jewish people into this category of chosen people, chosen ones,
Mhm.
God's people. And if you question anything that they do, including getting involved with a sex trafficking ring, Ehud Barak, and the account of alleged horrific abuse with women on Epstein Island, including Virginia Giuffre, which is well documented.
Mhm.
You hate Jewish people.
Yeah.
And it's a cudgel that they carry with them all the time. Some of my best friends are Jewish. You're Jewish. Some of my best friends that you'll never meet are Jewish. Captains of industry here in Canada, and they all feel the same way. They all feel the same way. And the way they feel is that their culture, their families, their heritage has been hijacked the same way Donald Trump has hijacked the culture of the United States of America.
Mhm.
And if you're susceptible to disinformation, if you continue to listen to people like Benjamin Netanyahu, who is a rotten cocksucker, he is a fascist, fucking lying, warmongering criminal, much like Donald Trump. And if you listen to him when you criticize the actions of the Israeli government, you don't want to tweet anymore.
Mhm.
You don't want to be seen as someone who's I got called a Holocaust denier and a Zionist the other day in this same tweet, by the way. And it doesn't prevent me from speaking my mind, because I'm capable of nuancing that. But the general public that can't nuance this conversation, some of them, they'll stop tweeting. They'll stop talking. That is exactly the point. That is exactly the point. Is that you will turn a blind eye to the reality of the genocide of innocent people in Gaza. You will buy into the lie and the myth that you cannot even speak truth to power based on facts when it comes to what Israel is doing to human beings in Gaza, in Israel, and around the world. The Freedom Index came out, Freedom House Freedom Index. Israel is on the lowest end of that scale with Iran, by the way. Not because Israel, and they'll tell you this all the time, Israel's a democratic country. Is it?
Used to be.
Is it? It's not. Much like the United States is not. It is an obstructive dictatorship. And if we can't have that conversation without, the cudgel, without the weaponization of anti-Semitism, we're in fucking trouble.
Yeah.
I don't want to be in trouble. And when I get to the point where we have this conversation, I say the same thing every time, and I mean it every time, is that, and it's worth repeating. In Israel, Benjamin Netanyahu is what Donald Trump, to the Israeli people, is what Donald Trump is to Americans. That is the best way I can explain it to you.
It's not, they're part of the same organization. They're not disconnected. The reason Netanyahu is in power is the same reason Trump is in power. It's all put there by the global mob that is largely a Russian and Israeli mob. These are organized criminals that have seized control of democracies that we used to love and used to uphold freedom around the world, and have turned them into authoritarian states. There's nothing to be celebrated about that, and it's got nothing to do with religion. It's got to do with the fact that these organized criminals have seized power using every means possible to them to lie to the American people, lie to the Israeli people, create conflict where there wasn't any conflict, create polarization where there wasn't polarization, and turn America and Israel, and to a large extent now, an attack is happening in the free world. The whole democratic free world is under attack by this authoritarian, organized criminal organization that wants to turn everything into a criminal state. They want to turn every country into
Everything
a
into a
mafia
national
state.
emergency. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, everything.
This is
Like a
massive
threat to
thing.
their existence. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's huge. It's huge. And you know what? I'm so glad you mentioned that, because that's the tenor of what happened in the White House today and yesterday. Is everything's a fucking national emergency, right? The murder of Rob Reiner, it was bad for America, national emergency. Fentanyl, weapons of mass destruction, national emergency. Everything he does, when someone attacks him, when someone outs him, when someone tells the truth about Israel or Russia, his relationship with both of them, it's a national emergency that requires, in England, they call it the Secrets Act, the British Secrets Act, where we can't talk about it, but we just have to take care of America. You just got to trust us right now. Well, that's just going to lead to more of this. It's just going to lead to more of this. And the whole goal here is to absolve Donald Trump, Benjamin Netanyahu, Vladimir Putin, and their cabal of a bunch of pedophilia and money laundering.
Yeah, it really is. I mean, when you look to why everything happened, these international intelligence agencies, in order to get their work done, needed to cooperate with organized criminal crimes in these countries. And they went to these mobsters and they made a deal. You get this intelligence operation completed. You get us what we need in terms of getting Clinton to back off this peace deal with Israel and the Palestinians. And you can do what you want to. You can crash the American economy. You can steal money from the American people. You can loot the treasury. You can rape kids. You can do whatever you want. Just get these things done. And they did that. And that's how we landed up with this corruption over the last 50 years that has gotten exponentially worse and worse and worse. And this is how we get to Donald Trump, whose current team in the White House looks like this. And back to the beginning of the story, these people are all compromised and incompetent people. And they're all, by the way, backed by Israel, or by Bibi Netanyahu, also the people, especially the guy on the right there, who leads the charge in terms of his racist and completely xenophobic approach to
Are you talking about
immigration.
Stephen Miller?
Yeah, he happens to be Jewish,
Yeah, I know, it's fucking crazy. I listen. A great place to end off is Stephen Miller is the official henchman of Donald Trump. He's the Joseph Goebbels of the Trump regime. If he had his way, he'd kill everybody that wasn't white in the United States of America. He would.
Yeah, he would.
He just would. He just would. He gave a speech to try to become class president of a shitty high school in California when he was a high school student. And his whole MO was to force the caretakers, the janitors of the school, to clean up after him no matter where the fuck he put his lunch and the garbage from his lunch. That's their job. Fuck them. They're supposed to do it. And it was this and anybody you talk to, any stories you read about Stephen Miller, any stories you read about anybody in the Trump regime, it always comes down to this one thing, which is the essence of who they are. And that's the essence of who Stephen Miller is. This is the essence of the Trump regime. They are racist. They are xenophobic. They are fascist. They are greedy. They are pedophiles. They are pedophile enablers. They look at women like they're fucking objects and assets. They don't give a shit about humanity. All they care about is the perception and creating one that makes you feel unhealthy, makes you feel dangerous, so that they can get your vote, take your agency, and then go do unspeakable things to human beings in the United States of America that they just don't align with.
Yeah.
That's America today, friends, and you should know that.
Dean Blundell from deanblundell.substack.com. It's the one place you get all your news in the morning, plus all day long. You do great work, Dean, and I've been enjoying
Thanks,
your great pieces today. So much of today's show came from your Substack. What's going on today that you want people to pay attention to and people should be reading in?
I think everybody should pay attention to the last story I put out today, which was about the director of MI6 in England.
Oh, yeah.
Blaise Merchuli, I believe is her name. She looks like she could snap your neck with her hands, by the way. Just looks tough, looks strong.
She does look very, very strong.
First MI6 director in 116 years to be female. Awesome. She basically said, prepare for war.
Mm-hmm.
And I combined that announcement today, prepare for war with Russia, to be specific, and Russia's proxies, a world war. Combine that with the massive militarization effort here in Canada, where they put out a call for a civilian army of 300,000 Canadians to join the civilian army, where France is considering conscription again. The UK is considering conscription again. Germany and all the EU countries that are allied when it comes to the process of democracy, all talking about the same things. There's a reason for that. It's the same reason you don't scream fire in a movie theater, is the same reason they're not telling everybody to go out and grab canned goods, a couple rifles, and head for the hills, because they don't want to incur panic. You need to be aware of this article. You need to be aware of what Blaise Merchuli said yesterday, the head of MI6, and the head of the British forces, who said, sons and daughters of Britain, you need to be prepared to fight for Britain. Mark Carney saying the same thing, Finland saying the same thing, Europe, all the Baltic states, Moldova, Poland, Germany, they're all saying the same things. There's a reason for that, and y'all need to be prepared for it, and you should not be surprised by it, and you need to read between the lines, is that something is coming and they don't want to tell us about it.
Mm-hmm.
And I would encourage you to go to deanblundell.substack.com, read that piece, and kind of just understand where we're at, because we're still in this place of denial after 80 years of, peace.
Yeah.
We're still in this place of denial that there's no war. There's a war going on right now. There's a digital war going on right now. There's a diplomatic war going on right now. There are wars against our allies going on right now, like real fucking physical wars in Ukraine, all across the world. It's not going to stop. It's going to escalate. And that is why MI6, that is why British Special Forces Navy Admiral came out today and said, brothers and sisters, be prepared. That is why Mark Carney is mobilizing hundreds of thousands of Canadians. That is why every EU country is doing the exact same thing. That is why Finland is building swampland along the border of Finland and Russia. Something's coming. You need to be aware.
It's a great piece you put up there, and aligned with that, I have a piece on narrative.org which looks at the British Parliamentary Intelligence Committee report that just came out yesterday as well. It's a very detailed report that just says China, Russia, and Iran are attacking Britain in a way that is unprecedented. A whole of country attack, really, in terms of its cyber capability, and they are, sounding the alarm as you are, that we are heading towards a major conflict here, and that China and Russia in particularly are involved in a massive, massive attack on Britain right now. The full report is on narrative.org, where everyone can read it, and your stories at deanblundell.substack.com. That's the FiveStack today. I'll see you again tomorrow. Have a great afternoon, Dean, and we'll leave you with Donald Trump looking for his desk at the office. Have a good day.
Nice medal. It's not bad. That's a great job. That's great. Thank you. Great job. Great job, fellas.